Jiu-Jitsu is often thought of as a grappling martial art, which is fair because a lot of Jiu-Jitsu technique is grappling technique and there are really well built out Jiu-Jitsu grappling sequences. But Jiu-Jitsu has always been a complete martial art. It does include strikes. The common misconception comes from the fact that Jiu-Jitsu striking does not look like striking in other martial arts. Because in other martial arts, Muay Thai, boxing, the object is a match where you and your opponent have agreed on rules and we are going to engage and we're going to strike with each other. Now, in a self-defense situation, that doesn't apply. I don't agree to strike with anybody. And so all the strikes in Jiu-Jitsu are designed to be defensive. Yes, they may end the fight, or they may get you into a situation just where you're safer. Remember, the watchword is self-defense, and that means survival and distance management. So one of the most important strikes in Jiu-Jitsu is the defensive side kick. In Brazilian Portuguese, it's called the Pisao. Pisao means big step. You'll see why it's called big step in just a second. I'm going to show you from a couple of different angles, me doing it just by myself, and then I'm going to show you how we can use it to manage distance and enter the clinch. So I have my nice wide stance. My hands are up in a non-aggressive defensive posture in a self-defense situation. My weight goes into my back foot, and you can see why this is going to be big step. My knee retracts toward my chest, and in an actual fight, that kick would land. Usually I'm aiming on the guy's knee. When I do it with Jesse, I'm gonna rest it on his hip briefly, just because of training partner safety. But because legs are longer than arms, you can use this kick as a tool to manage distance. Either just to keep him away, right? Keep them away, or to enter the clinch. Remember, all the way in or all the way out. So if we square off, I've tried to avoid the fight, but the fight is on. Maybe because of proximity, I couldn't get away, or whatever reason. If I just want to send him, now when we're drilling this, the first thing I'm gonna do when I'm gonna show you the Pisao, Jesse's gonna just stand right there and I'm gonna put my foot on his hip. So I'm here, my weight goes into my back foot, bringing my head back so that to minimize the chance of a long-armed person striking my face. And I just rest it on his hip and thigh, right? Now, in an actual fight, we might actually stomp and that might actually end a fight. There's debate in sport MMA about whether to outlaw that kick because it's an oblique kick, it can buckle your knee. But that's not the purpose that we're using it for. So maybe it ends the fight, or maybe if I do this, Jesse backs off, right? Okay, do we still want to do this? Hopefully not. So, technique of the kick. My weight is balanced, my hands are up. My weight goes into my back foot, my head goes backward, and I step, right? So if we make him back off and rethink the situation, fantastic. But Royce Gracie in the early UFCs used this kick to enter the clinch. And I'm gonna show you how that's done. Now again, two schools of thought on what you can do with your hands. They have to stay up, right? Me personally, I prefer to guard my face like this, but you'll see people, and really, really excellent fighters, you'll see them swim for double underhooks on the way in, trying to control the transition before the clinch even happens. And it's slightly riskier just because we're leaving our face undefended, but it's certainly not wrong. So we're here. I realize the fight is on. My weight goes into my back foot. I stomp. Step to the inside. That's why it's called big step, right? Back, step, enter. Now we can get our clinch, right? Let's do it from this angle. So again, we're circling. I'm like, man, I really don't want to do this. I really have no interest in fighting you. Boom. Step. And we enter the clinch. Every technique in martial arts, and certainly in Jiu-Jitsu, has a setup, an entry, and a finish. Sometimes the setup is something I do. Sometimes the setup is something that he forces me to do. So my setup might be, my buddy bull rushed me and I needed to clinch. So I did this technique. My setup might be, I throw the kick and use that kick to enter the clinch. And then I choose to finish either with the bear hug takedown or the hip throw. So every technique has a setup, an entry, and a finish. And if you pay attention to that, you'll see how as we keep ourselves safe in Jiu-Jitsu, we can find islands of safety in a sea of danger and then execute whatever technique is correct for the situation.